Hello everybody and welcome to round number 12 of Thrustmaster Virtual GP 2017 Championship. It is the finale. The championship is being decided here this afternoon. I'm Matthew Gallagher, and joining me in the commentary box for this fascinating afternoon of racing, it's Justin Sutton.
Yep, it all comes down to this final race, and what better circuit. It really is a driver circuit, a fan favorite as well. Suzuka always puts on a good show, and I'm sure today will be no different.
Two men, Michal Šmídl and Martin Štefanko. Those are the two we're going to be focusing on for the most part of this race, because it is down to them to decide who is going to become the champion of this Thrustmaster Virtual GP Championship for 2017. Will Honzik get involved and cause a stir up at the front? He was quite close last time out for round 11. Here's the scenario then. Štefanko will become champion if he wins, and so will Šmídl. So I'm assuming that these two are going to be fighting for first and second place, which means it is a straight shootout, but we'll get into more of the permutations if, for example, both these guys drop out of the top two, which we haven't really seen all season apart from Štefanko at Italy. But it should be an interesting one, Justin.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a great one.
Here we go then, Martin Štefanko, one of the championship protagonists. He will be all out for the win here for the final race of the season in Japan around this Suzuka circuit. Flying into turn one, it's nice and cambered as you then go round to the outside, then cut. Well, not cut, you don't cut, you clip the apex into turn two. The available compounds, you can see medium soft and super soft. The hards are banned again for this weekend. This first sector, very front reliant, you have to be very patient through here. You don't want to put too much speed into one corner and then compromise your exit, especially this one. You want to run the car out wide and then full throttle through all of this left-hander coming up to Degner's 1 and 2. Quite difficult to judge, as it's a little bit blind into Degner 1. Degner 2 not so bad, but it can still unsettle the car. But there's some nice runoff there if you do run a little bit wide. Now to the Kamui Kobayashi corner. I know it as this hairpin here, and not really much doing apart from just thinking about the traction zone coming out of here, and it's all about just then focusing towards Spoon Curve. Štefanko, well, we'll see if in a few moments time whether or not he has got the pace over Michal Šmídl in qualifying, but this is Spoon Curve, probably one of the most difficult corners to get right completely, because it's not just the first part, it's the second part, and making sure that you get a fantastic run all the way down towards 130R, which should be flat for these guys. We'll have a little listen and see if Martin takes this flat. Easy peasy, only a very slight turn to the left for that 130R. Now into the final few corners of this lap, clipping both apexes really nicely indeed, getting on the power beautifully, and that is a lap around this Japanese circuit.
And so, in qualifying, it is the championship leader, Michal Šmídl, that takes pole position by just under 0.4 of a second. That is a big gap between himself and Štefanko, who will start from the front row alongside him, though. So we do have that 1-2 start for those two championship protagonists. Then comes Honzik in third position, which we're very accustomed to seeing him in. Polesny will take fourth on the second row of the grid. Third row of the grid is Frabish and Sikora. Then comes Karl Bashko in the effective car in seventh position. He'll be starting alongside Peter Zubek way down in eighth. That's a little bit lower than I'm sure he's used to or happy to be in. So Michael Blazek in ninth position, Andrzej Chlebek in 10th position in the TP Link car, and bringing up the rear, it is Martin Kościelak in the DX Racer car, over 3 seconds off the pace in qualifying.
I feel like there's been about 17 variations of that name since Martin joined, but one day we'll get it, as the guys are on the grid for the final time of this Thrustmaster Virtual GP Championship. And it's lights out and away we go. Who is going to get the better start down towards turn one? We know how important it is to be in the lead, and Michal Šmídl goes so defensive into turn one. Štefanko has to follow him through. Honzik stays in third position, Polesny in fourth, but Michal Šmídl gets the jump and stays in first position off the start, and that could be crucial for the remainder of these 27 laps. He is the one that is going to be able to dictate the pace, but it will be a two-stop because the hard tyres are banned for this afternoon, which means they have to go on to the mediums, which is the most durable of the three sets available, which means it's definitely going to be a two-stop race. But Michal Šmídl almost 0.4 faster than Štefanko in qualifying. Will that go into the race as well, or has Martin Štefanko gone for a really race-ready setup and he's going to be much quicker? We will see in this race trim as we have now begun into lap one, into the hairpin, as we're having a look at, I believe that is Chlebek.
Yep.
And then Zubek in 8th place, a disappointing qualifying for him. He hasn't made up any positions yet on this first lap, but right now Michal Šmídl in the pound seats to win this championship.
Yep, it's looking very good for him. That's exactly what he needed to do. I mean, we're only half a lap into this race, but already it's going perfect for Michal Šmídl. We could see, it did not go so perfect for, I believe that's Schlad actually in the, no, excuse me, I think that was Schlad going off in the effective car, but there you have them. You can see their faces on your screens now. The two men that are capable of winning this 2017 championship. And on your screens, though, we're actually having a look at Zubek, who, again, started down in 8th position and is all over the back of Blazek as they come to the end of that opening lap. He's going to pick up a heck of a slipstream here, and he could make an overtake attempt into turn 1. It looks like they're just in the background now. He's known he's not going to be able to pull alongside at that particular moment. Oh, and that's a big slide, I believe, for Jan Sikora in the T-Mobile car. That's definitely going to lose him some time to Frabish up ahead, and we're on board with Zubek once again now. Again, running behind Blazek, and those two guys would have had a fantastic view of that slide from Sikora, so I imagine we're smelling a bit of blood in the water. Oh, but then Zubek gets a little bit of an oversteer moment coming out of Dunlop, and that's definitely got to be a bit worrying for him, so he maybe will be slowing down just a little bit after that moment there.
Yeah, so 22 degrees air temperature, 28 degrees track, which is quite good temperatures for these guys. It should give them a relative amount of grip. Oh, that's so close into the hairpin as we're running on board with not Schlad but Bashko, watching Schlebek lock up all kinds of tyres. I think it was his front left into that hairpin, but it's also worth mentioning, as you would have maybe seen from the webcams if you've been a frequent viewer of this championship, it looked a little bit different for these guys as, oh, that's close into the spoon curve, and he makes it stick. So Bashko overtakes Schlebek for 9th position. Oh, and then he runs wide to Schlebek, which could put Martin Kostulik, I'm going to call it that, and right on the back of Schlebek, going down towards 130 yard, but Schlebek goes defensive, which could, allow Martin all the way around the outside, but he's not going to be able to pull that one off, but he, I thought he was going to go for an up the inside move there, but I think he decided against it. Could have been a little bit of a questionable manoeuvre as a Polesny. So maybe that's just the timing screen's getting a little bit dodgy there. But as I was saying about the webcams, these guys are actually racing for the second time at 4 Games, which is a Video Games Expo. Can I please just get this messaging out, guys? Stop racing for 2 minutes, which is a Video Games Expo in Prague. So the last time it was the opening round of Season 2 at Imola, which was won by Frabish. So these guys are racing in a different environment, which could be interesting. It's not the same kind of surroundings that they're used to. You might have a few people watching as well, which could lay on the pressure, especially for the 2 guys out in front.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is, as you mentioned, a different environment for them. But at the moment, you have to say advantage Šmídl. He does seem to be, just outside that kind of like overtaking range. They did just get out of Sector 1, where, of course, it's the most difficult to follow. Schlad actually not racing in today's race because he's actually at the FIA ceremony event, so good for him. But yeah, we've got Bashko in his place in 9th position, losing a lot of time to Zubek, and Zubek still has not managed to get by Blazek in 7th position as we actually switch over camera angles. Thank you very much. They must be psychic, but he's all over the back of him now. He's pretty close, within a couple of car lengths on the run down towards 130R. Could see an overtake attempt into the Casio triangle potentially if he's able to carry that speed. He does. Blazek goes defensive into the chicane, and not able to find a way around is Peter Zubek as they come out of the chicane now, and he'll get onto the throttle and on board now with Hanzik, who has dropped off those lead 2. So you mentioned, Matty, earlier in the video that we were gonna see if Hanzik could maybe get involved in that battle and have something to do with that, but no, that does not appear to be the case, at least after 3 laps of racing so far. But you got to give kudos to Blazek. He is really holding on to that 7th place position.
Yeah. Oh, dearie me, Zubek getting an absolute tank slapper there in the first sector. And this is Frabish and Sikora. It looks like it's a pretty easy slipstream pass. Yes, it is indeed, into turn 1. So nice move there. So it's going to be very interesting to see. It definitely seems that Jaroslav Honzik does not have the pace that he showed last time out, and it is very much a straight battle between these 2 men on the screens. To remind you guys of last season, Šmídl actually, well, this race itself was the penultimate race of the season, and this is where Michal Šmídl took the win and also secured the championship. Will he do it again this afternoon? Right now, if it stays this way, he will, but Martin Štefanko well within the sights of that yellow big shot car, and anything can happen in the next 23 laps. I feel like there could be some daring moves if they are that close coming to the final few laps of the race, but right now, just settling into a rhythm. But Martin Štefanko really isn't being Michal Šmídl isn't bridging a gap to Martin Štefanko as Sikora and Fabish get very close into the last chicane there, as we've seen so many midfield battles throughout the season, and it seems like this race is no exception, as they just love to be so close. It's crazy to think that, you know, you've got Šmídl and Štefanko, league of their own, then you've got Honzik and Polesny, again kind of just that bit further ahead of midfield, and then you have that 5th down to 9th place, which is separated by 2 seconds.
Yeah, incredibly close. A 5-way battle, as you mentioned, for 5th position, which is double-digit points as well. So it is very important for these guys. And of course, there are still battles in the championship, up and down. There's only 2 men involved in the title fight, but there are still positions to be gained in this final race for a lot of these drivers. So, of course, everybody is going to be pushing harder than they have all season long, because this is their final opportunity to try and make something happen. Oh, Zubek getting the exit of the second Degner a little bit wrong there, but it didn't lose him too much time to the BenQ car up ahead. Through the hairpin they go, and it is very close, but it doesn't look like he's gotten quite as good of an exit coming out of that corner and through the very, very high speed and flat out turn 12 as they come into the double left-hander of the spoon curve. And again, Sikora really, I mean, he's all over the back of Jan Fabish, but he doesn't seem to be able to make anything happen. Oh, and that's a car off in the background. I think that's Blazek, actually. Zubek is finally going to get that 7th place position. Blazek is going to lose another position as well, actually, to Karl Bashko. Moves that effective car up into the 8th spot in this race. So not gone well for Blazek there. He drops down into 9th position. And in fact, it's really not an enormous gap down to Chlebek in 10th position. So he's really got to be wary of that, otherwise he could find himself scoring just a single point at the end of this race. Jan Sikora now is going to try and go around the outside at turn 1, which is of course also the outside of turn 2, but Fabish has that covered, carries good speed on the apex into turn 1, and is able to take pretty much the racing line into turn 2. So Fabish doing a fantastic job of defending, much like Blazek was doing right up until he made that mistake. And speaking of that mistake, yep, just a bit of oversteer at the exit of the second part of Spoon. And yeah, just put him off. I don't think that's going to be any significant damage. He'll probably be able to continue.
Like he missed the ball completely. I was just thinking, I didn't think he actually scraped the ball at all. So
no,
quite lucky there in a sense, but also because they're so closely packed in that midfield, he lost a couple of positions just with that one slight mistake. And that's Sikora and Fabish getting very close into the hairpin. He'll try and get a nice undercut here, will Sikora, and get on the power earlier. We've got Zubek watching the pair of them, hoping, praying that maybe something goes down into Spoon Curve. But right now, Fabish and Sikora separated by 0.1 seconds. Less than that now as they go side by side. Sikora gets a much better run. Going to go all the way round the outside at Spoon. Can he make this one stick? No, Fabish up the inside. Now Zubek smelling an opportunity as we come down the straight now towards 130. It's going to be an absolute slipstream fest behind Fabish, but I don't think Sikora's going to get a chance into 130. And if he goes for it, that's got some serious balls. And Fabish goes to the inside, and that's going to mean that, oh, dearie me, Sikora runs wide, but there's enough grip out there. Zubek on the outside coming into these last couple of corners. No position changes as yet, but Fabish is causing an absolute train behind him. Sikora was at one point hoping to get 5th, and now Zubek's going to try and take his position away and take 6th place away from him. Here we go down towards turn 1. Zubek's going to try and do what Sikora hasn't managed to do on Fabish, and no luck there, but very close racing between these guys.
Yeah, and Blazek really not far behind. In fact, the racing between these three has brought Blazek even closer, and Bashko as well. Those guys really not far off of this battle. It is a proper 5-way scrap we've got for this 5th position here. 6 laps into the race. Oh, and that's not the line you want to be taking for Dunlop, and that could put Bashko onto the back of Zubek here as they come into the Degners, and using all of the track and then some is Peter Zubek in that Avast car, and heading down towards the hairpin one more time. This time Fabish really doesn't need to be going defensive or anything like that, and it is in fact Jan Sikora, who was on the attack last lap, who is having to worry about the car behind him, as it's as they were. Look at that equal spacing between all 5 of them. So, I mean, just the smallest mistake, or, you know, one good lap from any one of these 5 drivers could result in a position change. And the only position change we've seen so far in this group, though, is that mistake that we've seen from Blazek. There's plenty of side-by-side action going on, but everybody's doing a great job of defending.
Worth mentioning, Michal Šmídl has bridged the gap to Štefanko to 1.2 seconds now. So just giving him a little bit more of a cushion to Martin. So that'll be interesting to see how Štefanko then starts to fight that back. Will he go for a really aggressive undercut on the pit strategy? Or will he do what he's done most of the season, which is do exactly the same as Michal Šmídl? But it certainly will be an interesting one. There's a lot higher tyre degradation, so these guys will be trying to push their tyres for as long as possible. Medium, medium, soft is the expected strategy, or they might go medium, soft, medium, which could be an interesting one. Maybe Martin will even wait, as we have someone in the pits right now, of Martin Kostiulik, but maybe Martin might actually think and wait for Michal Šmídl to make a move, see that maybe he goes onto the mediums, and then he might decide, right, well, this is my time to go on the softs, attack him during that stint, and then hope to hold on at the end if he does get past. So there's a few sort of permutations to the strategy as well, which will be interesting to watch. And, well, I think people need to be reminded that the winner of this is not just bragging rights between Michal Šmídl and Martin Štefanko and a trophy, but also the winner gets a test drive in a Formula Renault 2.0 car. That's a lot of people in a very small space of track there, as that's Bashko, I believe. Is that Bashko? No, it's Blazek. I don't even know. That's Blazek and Zubek, sorry, fighting for 5th position through Spoon. Oh my dearie me, Blazek getting all kind. Oh my god! And you've got Sakura going round the outside, or was that? I think that was actually Bashko trying to get through there, and Sakura getting a better run through Spoon. There's so much action, and look at the slipstream. It looks like Blazek's actually quite slow in a straight line. Sakura's going to go all the way round the outside at 130R. There was slight contact, and I think Bashko's going to try and take the pair of them, but it's almost 3 abreast going into this last chicane, which is certainly not going to work. And these 5 cannot be separated. But as I was just saying, oh dearie me, stop doing that, please. I'm trying to make points here. There's action galore. But the winner of this championship gets a Formula Renault 2.0 test drive, which is quite the prize, Justin.
Yeah, that's a serious piece of kit. That's a race car right there. You know, that's not just a fast road car. That is a race car. Maybe not quite up to the horsepower levels that we're seeing in these races, but yeah, I mean, that is one heck of a prize, and whoever wins that, I'm sure, is going to have an absolute blast in that car. And yeah, it's been a very exciting battle for 5th. Zubek has managed to go from 8th to 5th over the course of the last 8 laps or so. It was not a great start for him, but things have been looking much better in recent laps, and there was that defensive move from Frab. Oh, and we actually completely missed that. That explains what happened to Frabish, going side by side, and then a little tippy tap from the T-Mobile car of Jan Sakura, and that's going to put Jan Frabish into a spin. All of the other cars managed to avoid that, though, and oh, fantastic slow-mo shots we get to see here from this wonderful Suzuka circuit. Oh, and there, a little tap there as well on Jan Sakura, getting
130R,
yeah, getting a little bump there, and yeah, it's quite the race we have for 5th position, and it's certainly not over yet. And is that Martin Štefanko?
Štefanko.
That is Štefanko into the pits earlier than Michal Šmídl. He might actually be going for the undercut here. Now, those tires are going to be a bit on the cool side, but I tell you, Matt, there's nothing quite like Sector 1 of Suzuka for warming up some cold tires.
Yeah, Martin's been listening to me. He's gone onto the soft tyres. He's going for an attacking middle stint here. And that's going to be so interesting to see if he can get anywhere near Michal Šmídl. But he'll be on the soft tyres, Justin. Michael's going to be on worn mediums. And you can see how much curb he was taking through Degner 1 as well. Michal Šmídl has just realised, actually, I could be in trouble here and maybe lose the position. And 1 lap here or there is not exactly much in comparison to track position. So Martin Štefanko really making the move here, which finally we're seeing this season. He's got clear air as well. He's got about 10 seconds to Pelesny in front. Martin Štefanko is making a move for the championship.
Yeah, this is fantastic to see. As you mentioned, this is exactly what we've wanted to see from Štefanko all season long, is just some aggressive choices when it comes to the strategy. He's a fantastic driver, and of course these guys don't have the benefit of a race engineer, which a real-life driver would have the benefit of, but this is obviously crunch time for Michal Šmídl. You could see how much he was attacking the curbing into the Degners. He is pushing extremely hard. The really interesting thing will be what sort of tire compound he's going to go onto. If he goes onto the softs, he might still come out behind Štefanko, so maybe if I were his race engineer, I'd probably put him onto the mediums here, honestly, because I think he might lose that position regardless. and he's just going to be running in the dirty air if he puts on those softs. So doing something aggressive with the strategy here, going onto the mediums now, saving the softs for the final stint could be good. You can see Štefanko looking over. He wants to know what's going on with that championship leader, and he's going to come out of the pits, and Štefanko's going to go right around the outside. And Michal Šmídl has indeed gone for the medium tires. So once again, there's some sort of psychic link between us, and he has gone for the medium compound tires, and I think that was the right choice. So this is really hotting up now.
Crucial now for Martin Štefanko. This is going to be a time trial from here to the next time he pits. He is going to have to push like absolute crazy. And oh my days. Oh my days. That's going to be close into turn one. And it is, but just about manages to get away with it as Baško coming out behind Blazek. Really quite confusing with having Schlad on his car there. But I'm just remembering that Richard is not racing this weekend. He's doing something a lot more exciting apparently at that FIA season ceremony event, which is quite cool. But oh, look at this actually. Šmídl somehow is right on the back of Štefanko despite Martin being on the softer compound tyres. So I'm not sure if the mediums for some reason get up to speed a bit quicker. You would imagine the softs were, but Michal Šmídl not allowing Martin Štefanko to pull away, which is exactly what I thought was going to happen, is that Martin would pull away, maybe bridge a few seconds, pit, and then we'll have Michael come back to him towards the end. But it seems like right now, Michal Šmídl hunting him down. Yeah, he's very close. He actually seems to have lost a bit of time, actually, on the run to 130R and then the short run down to the Casio Triangle. But that could be a setup difference. But yeah, I really think Michal Šmídl made the right call. It's not a massive time difference. You know, you're not going to see like a 2-second per lap time difference between those two compounds of tires. And as I mentioned before, he's going to be stuck in that dirty air anyway. It's going to be difficult, nigh on impossible, to make that overtake on Martin Štefanko, who's obviously a world-class driver in his own right. So, you know, I think Šmídl made the right call here. If he does manage to get by while on the mediums, great. You know, that's advantage Šmídl for sure. But if he doesn't, then he's not losing out too much, because Štefanko is, we assume, going to have to go onto the mediums for his final stint, unless he's going to do some sort of magic with those soft compound tires and actually make them last as long as the mediums. I mean, we don't know how these guys have their cars set up. We don't know what they've done in testing. We don't know what their strategy plans are, but we do know it is very close between them. The softs just aren't working. I'm so surprised. Martin is absolutely struggling on these softer compound tyres. As you say about the tyre wear, I'm sure that Martin will have to pit earlier than the mediums, but my days, Martin just doesn't have the pace on the soft tyres, which, if that's the case for everyone, then Martin has absolutely worked this a treat. If he keeps Michal Šmídl behind him, oh dears, things are going off in the hairpin. It just seems like these guys don't like the attention being brought away from them when I'm making a point about something else, as Baško and Blazek just trying every part of the track and then some of the grass as well to try and make the move here. And they really cannot be separated as we're into lap 12 for these guys. But as I was saying, I think Štefanko, you know, if the soft tyres don't work for any reason on these cars, maybe the degradation just kicks in straight away, then Martin is very much in the pound seats here, because he'll pit earlier, he'll go on to the mediums again, and should keep track position. But we're yet to see. Maybe Martin is just really quite nervous now that he is in the lead of the race, and also will win the championship if it stays this way. But right now, the battle in the midfield continues to rage on with Baško and Blazek. It seems like Sakura, I'm not sure if Sakura will get a penalty for what he did to Frabish. I would imagine so, because he knocked him round and then drove off.
Yeah, not really sure what's going on with that one. We'll see if anything pops up, but yeah, in the meantime, we do have the battle between Zubek, Blazek, and Baško, which is still simmering quite well. No side-by-side moments in that last lap there, but certainly they're very, very close to each other, and we're not even at the halfway point of this race just yet. And Michal Šmídl is once again very, very quick behind Martin Štefanko here. It does seem Štefanko has the advantage at the exit of Spoon. That's not the first lap where I've seen him pull out a pretty sizable gap at the exit of Spoon. Those soft tires really seem to be helping in that kind of high-speed corner. Maybe it's helping a lot in 130R. I mean, it seems to be pretty much flat out, regardless of fuel level and tire compound. But yeah, and then see into the Casio Triangle though. The Big Shot car just closes up massively. We might actually see an overtake attempt here. Of course, those guys are going to have a fresh use of KERS. Oh, no, never mind. It is heating up in the battle for the lead. Oh, my gosh. bit of swapping back and forth between the two of them. I actually would like to see a replay of that. I don't know if we're going to get to, but Šmídl and Štefanko, it's really hotting up. Oh my gosh, and that is, I believe, Jan Sikora off at 130R, may have had some contact potentially that sent him off there, but it is still Štefanko in the lead, despite that very exciting moment into turn 1.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work. I think the soft tyres are just good for one lap, and then after that, the tyres just fall away. And obviously, they're forced into that hand because they have to use the softs because the hards aren't available. So Martin getting rid of these degrading soft tyres now, but managing with that one essential qualifying lap that he made has put him in. Oh dearie me! Sikora smashing into the wall. His rear wing is going to be absolutely destroyed. And there was a little bit of contact on my days on his rear left from Schlebe.
Ooh, just very light.
Dearie me,
just clipped him.
That would have been catastrophic in real life.
Yep.
But fortunately, it's only a game. Šmídl again having a look, but Martin Štefanko defending beautifully. But I think Šmídl may well have a very good chance now into turn 1. Oh, Štefanko gets all kinds of out of shape around that final corner, and they're going to be almost side by side, if not side by side, going down towards turn 1. Šmídl on the racing line. I'm coughing because I'm getting so excited, but Štefanko has the inside line. Oh, there's contact between the pair of them, and Štefanko will continue in the lead. Oh my days, Šmídl shakes his head. He's not happy with that one, but that was, from my opinion, just a racing instant there. They were side by side going into turn 1. It was never going to work. Two guys trying to fight for the championship, and there's a little bit of contact, but fortunately both of them continue, and Michal Šmídl has the pace.
I swear Michal Šmídl took both hands off the wheel for one frame of I mean, that was like a third of a second or so. I mean, it was practically no time at all. Yeah, that was incredible stuff. Look, he's realigning himself in his seat. Okay, we're halfway through the race, past the halfway point. Michal Šmídl all over the back of Martin Štefanko. It is very, very close between these two fierce competitors as they both go to scratch their eye at the same time. They're so used to battling each other, they're actually syncing up with one another. That is incredible stuff to see from these two incredible sim racing drivers. And yeah, that was unfortunate, though, the incident that we saw at 130R. Just a very light flip there. Oh, gosh. And here we go, side by side into 130R for the championship. Hanzik, oh gosh, excuse me, Štefanko on the outside now for the Casio triangle. Oh, a bit more contact, some more contact between the two of them. That is very unfortunate, and Šmídl is going to lose a lot of time, but Štefanko is waiting up. He might even be giving him the position here. Šmídl is definitely carrying a lot more speed as they head down towards turn 1, and he might get this position. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, nope, Štefanko waited up the perfect amount. That's incredible, incredible.
Well, I don't know I don't know why he's done that. I mean, why has Martin waited if he hasn't let him through? I mean, we've not seen any contact all season. Now we're just seeing them smashing wheels at every corner. Like, that was fair racing, in my opinion. He just ran out of road, and yet, I don't know. Yeah, it's difficult. But then Martin hasn't let him through, so I don't understand why he would wait for him but not let him through, because surely that's exactly the same as just continuing on. In my opinion, he still continued to keep the position. Maybe he just wants to battle for the championship, I don't know. But either way, these guys, apparently Formula Renault 2.0 test drives aren't that big a deal for these guys. Oh, I'll wait for you, mate. We'll just have a little ding-dong battle for the next 11 laps. I mean, for us, it's fantastic to watch as viewers, as Michal Šmídl has the absolute raw pace right now. Štefanko has nothing in the tank, and I think the soft tyres really have just flown off the cliff. And I wouldn't be surprised if he comes into the pits in the next couple of laps. But Šmídl, surely this time, is going to take the lead of this race as we come towards 130R. It's pretty much deja vu from the last lap. I think Šmídl a little bit further forward this time and takes the lead of this race. Štefanko has nothing to respond with.
I think he's going to pit.
Will he dive into the pits? This is the question.
11 laps to go.
Tyres are destroyed. Yep. There it is. So he comes into the pits. Martin Štefanko onto the mediums. We won't see Michael in the pits for another 4 to 5 laps, so both these guys can relax. Well, I say relax. Michal Šmídl's probably going to put in the next 3 to 4 laps in the most intense way possible.
Yep, he's going to be clunking some more curves. That much is for sure. Oh, God, getting very tight at the chicane at the end of lap 16 for these two guys. Holy cow. Blazek and Bashko, once again, very, very close. Looks like Zubek is into the pits. Somebody was into the pits there, it looked like momentarily. But Frabish is up to the back of Trebek, but no, Trebek pits, actually. So Frabish is going to grab a position there relatively easily as he starts lap 17 with a lot of clean air as well, too. So Jan Frabish really needs to start pumping in some good laps as he has free air ahead. And Hanzik actually is not that far off of Šmídl. All of that battling between the two leaders, we might actually get our wish here. And Polesny really not far off of Hanzik either. I mean, it's about 5 seconds or so worth of lap time between Šmídl and Polesny. So if that battle continues to rage as it has been all race long, then we could see Hanzik and Polesny get involved in that as well. But we're on board with Michal Šmídl on his way down towards 130R. Should be nice and easy flat out for the medium tires, despite their age at this point. He pitted on lap 10, if memory serves correct, so he is finishing his 7th lap on this set of tires. So yeah, as you said, Matt, he'll probably come in somewhere between 19 and 21, depending on how aggressive he wants to be. I do believe it was a 7-lap stint on the softs for Štefanko, who is on your screens now. So he could potentially go for an aggressive 8-lap stint, something like that. But, you know, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think Štefanko pitted at the exact right time. I really think he did. I think he can do 11 laps on those mediums, no problem.
Yep, it's going to be fascinating to see where Šmídl comes out. What is his pace going to be like on those more worn mediums compared to Martin's fresh mediums? But then when Michael goes onto the softs, he's going to be so quick in those first couple of laps. But will he have more pace than what Martin Štefanko showed after that? Because Martin was absolutely nowhere. Maybe it was just the setup on his car and the soft tyres just didn't work with that setup. But we're going to find out in the next few laps when Michael comes in. But right now, I don't think he'll want to come in. If, you know, after seeing what Martin Štefanko's pace was like, will he continue on the mediums for a few more laps and only do a 5-6 lap stint on the softs where he can push a bit harder? Only time will tell as we look at Jan Sikora, who's having an absolute nightmare of a last race this season after that crash at 130R. And here's Michal Šmídl. I'll be interested to see what his next lap is. The 32.7 was only 2 tenths quicker than what Polesny managed on the last lap as well. He did a 32.9. So considering how far they were ahead in qualifying compared to the other guys, not that much race pace benefits. So let's have a look at Michal Šmídl round the final corner. Comes over the line to start lap 19, and what was his last lap? A 32.6, so the consistency is there. The tyre degradation is not affecting his lap times at all, but what is Martin Štefanko's lap time? This is going to be crucial to see, but we're not going to see it just yet. Thank you very much, race director. We're going to watch Karl Bashko instead, and we're just going to have to guess what Martin's last lap was. And I would imagine he's slightly quicker, but maybe the mediums are reasonably durable, which means there might not be too much difference in the lap times, but every 10th matters as we see Bashko get a fantastic run out the final couple of corners. And this is the battle for 6th place. Can Bashko get ahead of Blazek? He's going to go to the racing line, which hasn't worked for most of the guys into turn 1, and it hasn't worked this time either. So Bashko stays in 7th place. And Šmídl right now, looking at the timings, really isn't pulling away from Hanzik or Polesny, as you mentioned. So, well, if we have a few more ding-dong battles, we could see a very close battle between not only first and second, but Hanzik and Polesny fancying a podium as well.
Yeah, for sure. 32.6 last lap from Michal Šmídl, as you mentioned before, extremely consistent, a 10th quicker than he was on the previous lap, making his way around Spoon and actually closing up on Jan Sikora, who, again, is not having the best of races, and I'm sure that's disappointing for him. He's a solid midfield contender. I don't think we've seen him very much battling for podiums and that sort of thing, but certainly, you know, top 5s, top 6s, that sort of area. But he is dead last here at Suzuka, and I'm sure he's bummed about that. And that is a very early pit stop in for Michal Šmídl, in for the soft compound tires. It's the only. I mean, he's not going to put the super softs on.
Štefanko did a 0.4, so he was a couple of tenths quicker than what Šmídl was. This could be closer than I expected as Hanzik takes the lead of the race, as Šmídl makes a very aggressive pit stop, as you said, very early. There's Štefanko looking over. I'm not sure if you can see Šmídl's screen. Oh, Šmídl is going to come out ahead, is he? Going into turn one. And oh my days, it's going to be so close. Sakura runs off the road, says, I do not want any part of this battle. And Michal Šmídl leads the race with 7 laps to go.
Yep, he is on those soft compound tires, and he does need to do 8 whole laps on those soft compound tires, which is 2 more than Štefanko had to do. But he does, of course, have less fuel, and he is in the lead, so he doesn't have to worry about dirty air damaging his front tires any more than they will already be damaged. But also, his car is going to be lighter on fuel, lighter every lap, of course. And Štefanko with a 32.0 last lap. That is mega fast on those medium compound tires. They are clearly up to temperature at this stage. And he's actually not all that close to Šmídl, but again, those softs do seem very quick at first, but then they really start to fall away. And I would imagine Šmídl is going to be, he's going to try to be very gentle, very tender with these tires, because again, 8 laps, even on low fuel, is going to be a tough ask.
In my opinion, I think Šmídl, by the end of this race, is going to be a sitting duck. He's gone for the track position, but I think Štefanko right now has played this race beautifully with the strategy. He's got rid of his soft tyres, but he managed to keep Šmídl behind, meaning that Michal couldn't bridge the gap. So he was just stuck behind him on those mediums, and now look at this, he's trying to break the slipstream, which I don't imagine Štefanko's getting all too much of. But Šmídl just trying to save every thousandth, but I imagine driving as aggressively as he did down the straight there probably lost him time, if anything. But Michal Šmídl will have to get every ounce of these soft tyres. I mean, I cannot call this, but I think it is going to come down to the wire, as Štefanko will be on the quicker tyre at the end. You know, as much as Šmídl's leading by a second now, these tyres will fall off. We saw it happen to Štefanko. It will happen to Šmídl. He's doing an extra lap as well. Oh my days, I think there's going to be a bit more wheel banging by the end of this race.
Yeah, and there's going to possibly even be some wheel banging between Baško and Blazek, as Blazek comes out just ahead of the effective car. Then Q-Car does manage to hang on to that 6th place position. Meanwhile, Zubek has really broken away. What was a five-man fight for that 5th place has really become Zubek's 5th place to lose at this point. He's really not all that close to Hanzik and Polesny, but Hanzik and Polesny are very close to each other. So, I mean, we definitely have a battle for the lead. We definitely have a battle for this championship. We've got a battle for the final podium position, and we've got an intense battle for 6th position going on as well, too. So, battles up and down the field, and Šmídl has pulled out a nice gap. As you mentioned before, it's about a second right now. But how long can he hold on to that? It is, as you mentioned before, it is track position versus better strategy, to be totally honest. So it'll be really interesting to see if I mean, we've seen in the past, all throughout this season, Štefanko fail to overtake Šmídl. That's been a fairly common theme throughout VGP 2017. So we'll see if he can break that trend here in Suzuka.
That's going to be close into the last chicane. Baško and Blazek again holding hands into this last chicane. And it seems like Blazek just holding on for now, but will Baško get a better run? It looks like easily he has. The Ben Q-Car much slower as we now come down the start-finish straight to start their 22nd lap of this final race of the season. And Baško is going to overtake him. Is he? Oh, it's going to be so close. There's wheel banging, and the Ben Q-Car sliding all the way around turn 1. And that was close. These guys just don't care anymore. It's the last race of the season. They're going for every overtaking opportunity they possibly can. And I think for me, it was close. I think it was a racing instant again, but it seems like Baško is waiting. These guys they're all just so unbelievable. Blazek's binned it as I couldn't believe the 6th place was being given back to him. And he's lost it. He just absolutely lit up the rear tyres, and Blazek's now down to 8th. I can't believe it.
I cannot believe that. It's like he spun on his own oil, which is something that literally doesn't happen in sim racing. I've never seen anything like that. That was truly, truly incredible. I don't know, maybe his tires were dirty. I mean, he had just been off the circuit, so he may have had some grass and some dirt on his tires. These are, of course, racing slicks, so you get some debris on those tires, and they just kind of slide you right off the circuit. So maybe he was caught off guard by the effective car, slammed on his brakes, and then that just spun him right around. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that was a very, very strange one. Jaroslav Hanzik, though, still holding on to that third place, which is definitely the position we've seen him in the most throughout the course of this season. That third place has really been his. He has claimed that in the championship as well, too. So Jaroslav doing a fantastic job, but Polesny keeping him honest. He's really not that far behind. If Hanzik makes even a small mistake, he could find himself side by side with Polesny quite easily.
Yeah, Polesny's closing in, although I think he made a little bit of a mistake there as he's now dropped to 1.3 behind. And Štefanko falling away from Šmídl, which is interesting. Štefanko, the only one apart from Sakura on the medium compound tyres, so that was the alternate strategy he was thinking of because he didn't have track position. But right now, Michal Šmídl is pulling away. Are these tyres going to hold on for the big shot car and the setup that he's got on it for the next few laps? Or will Štefanko start to close in again? It was a 31.9 for Šmídl that last lap, and it was a 32.0 for Štefanko, so they cannot really be separated for lap time. But Martin's going to be hoping that they were going to be, especially at this stage of the stint. Will Michael's lap time be dropping off, coming over the line now? It is a 31.908, so Šmídl putting in the lap times to win the championship at the moment. And Martin Štefanko, does he have anything left in the tank to close in on that yellow car?
Yep, that is the big question, and I'm not entirely sure at this point. I mean, we keep trading off who's got the advantage in this race. It's advantage Šmídl, advantage Štefanko, advantage Šmídl. But I mean, right now, you gotta give it to Michal Šmídl. He's doing a fantastic job. We weren't sure those soft tires could live past just a single lap, to be totally honest. And he is putting in solid times. Yeah, 31.9 last lap, 32.2 last lap from Štefanko. So a 0.3 difference between the two of them. It'll be really interesting to see how that continues, though, because, of course, we are really, really close to the end of this race here. Only 3 laps to go after this one is completed. And Polesny still hunting down Hanzik, but that gap's pretty much remaining steady. At this point, the real interesting thing that I'm waiting for is the end of this lap to see what kind of lap times these guys are doing, because so again, about a 0.3 difference between them at the end of lap 23. We'll have to see what that looks like at the end of lap 24, though. You would assume Štefanko is going to be closing that gap down.
Also need to mention, Driver of the Day vote is on the Virtual GP website, and a competition for luxury Swiss watches as we see... No, who's that?
Yeah, that's Polesny. Oh gosh, yeah, Polesny's off.
So Polesny's thrown away the third position that was potentially going to be his by spinning off there. I was waiting for some confirmation there, Justin.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, that was in fact Polesny.
But no worries. Yeah, that's so Polesny's thrown away an opportunity at third position. And I was just mentioning that the Driver of the Day vote is on the Virtual GP website, and the competition for luxury Swiss watches, thanks to Certina, on the website has been won by Marvick already. So McLaren Honda, who was the guy that was trying to chase him down, did not win, which is no surprise there.
Another loss
for McLaren Honda. Marvick has won the Swiss watch, so congratulations to them. And well, who's going to win the Formula Renault 2.0 test drive? Right now, Michal Šmídl very much looking like he's on his way to winning the championship, but it's going to be very, very close indeed. Just to remind you guys, the permutations, whoever wins this race wins the championship. This the
simple as
full stop. You know, there's no other permutations.
Yep.
Yeah, that is all she wrote. If Šmídl or Štefanko win this race, as Blazek and now Člebek. So Blazek, after his mistake, his very strange mistake, he's now behind Člebek, who is without a doubt slower than him. Can he make a move through here? 140.3 his last lap. That's extremely slow from Blazek.
That's my kind of lap time.
38.3. Oh, Člebek going straight off into the gravel. But then Blazek makes a mistake again, but this time gets up into 8th position. And poor Michael, it's kind of gone downhill for him. But I am just monitoring the fact that Martin Štefanko is now in the 0 point range. He's not 1.2, 1.3. It's now 0.7, I'm going to say. It was a 32.5 for Michal Šmídl, a 32.2 for Štefanko. Those soft tyres, Justin, they're falling away.
Yep, and those mediums really are unaffected. I mean, those are very similar lap times to what he was doing on lap 25 and 24 and 23. So this is really on the penultimate lap of the 2017 Virtual GP season is go, and Michal Šmídl might be in the lead, but with a 0.3 deficit as far as the performance of his tires. The real question is, can he hold on to this? I mean, we've seen some incredible defensive drives from Michal Šmídl all season long, but it's all come down to this. The final 2 laps, final lap and a half of this Suzuka circuit. Can Michal Šmídl hold on?
Oh God, I can't believe it's come down this close. Michal Šmídl dominated the first half of the season. It looked like he was going to wrap it up with 2-3 races to go, but then Martin Štefanko fought back. He got his mojo. He must have improved, if anything. You know, he's improved his driving. He's got onto a level with Michal Šmídl. And look at this, he is fighting Michal for first position, coming down towards 130R. He's going to follow him into the last chicane. Will a move be made? No, that's so close to his rear diffuser, but he can't make it stick there. He's going to be thinking, right, where can I make it? It's into turn 1. Will he get a better exit? We're about to start the final lap. Michal Šmídl gets a little bit squidgy on his rear end. But look at this, Michal Šmídl and Štefanko going side by side down towards turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? I'd imagine it's Šmídl, but he's going to go round the outside of Štefanko. Šmídl still has the inside line. Štefanko, oh, he runs wide onto the grass. Michal Šmídl maintains the lead for now, but his tyres have gone, Justin.
Yeah, that's fair battling. I think that was his corner. I think he had the right to kind of force Štefanko a little bit wide there. But you can see him. You could see him fighting the wheel. He's going up Dunlop. That's not an especially difficult corner. You just kind of turn the wheel left and accelerate, and you can see him fighting the wheel even on that sort of corner.
Already.
And yeah, already Štefanko up to the back of him. I mean, that was a good second and a half gap between the two of them after Štefanko went off. Oh my gosh, and the difference in tire life becomes so evident as they make their way through the hairpin and through the low-speed traction zone. You can see Štefanko definitely, I think he's going to get this, Matt. I think he's going to get him into 130R.
The Thrustmaster Virtual... Oh, that's a contact on the rear diffuser. The Thrustmaster Virtual GP 2017 Championship is going to be decided right now. Who is going to win this championship? Is it Šmídl? Is it Štefanko? He's got a fantastic run as Martin. He takes the lead into 130R. What can Šmídl do into the last chicane? Šmídl goes defensive. Štefanko, no, he's going to take it. Martin Štefanko round the final corner. Šmídl can do nothing. And Martin Štefanko is going to win the Thrustmaster Virtual GP Championship by all of about half a tenth. Oh my goodness me. What an ending to this championship. Oh, I can't believe it. And they look at the two protagonists. Well, only one now, but oh my days. Martin Štefanko crowned the champion.
Oh,
Michal
the crowd.
Šmídl. Look at the crowd, they're clapping. They can't believe they've seen this.
I'm clapping.
As Blazek and Člebek still battling, but I'm sorry, guys. It doesn't matter how much you battle. I'm still soaking up what just happened there. The championship decided on the last corner. I think I got my names a little bit confused there going into the last corner, but you can forgive me as I cannot believe it ended that way. Sakura dives up the inside as well into the last chicane. But look at this. This was the championship winning move. He got a fantastic run out of Spoon, but then Šmídl gets into the slipstream to try another move into the last chicane, but Štefanko goes defensive, can brake a little bit later, locks up a little bit on his front right, which could have allowed Šmídl the overtaking opportunity to the line. But there you have it, Martin Štefanko by probably half a tenth.
It was a very good season from last year. It was a big improvement, and yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, it was a tough battle, and yeah, managed to get it in the end. But like I said, it was a very tough, but also very good and enjoyable season. It was a very tough race. I mean, the qualifying didn't go the way I wanted to, and also the start wasn't like perfect. I didn't manage to get ahead, which I kind of expected. So I tried an alternate strategy, which kind of worked. But in the end, in the last stint, Michael was still ahead, so I had to get him on track. He was pulling away a little bit because he had a softer compound, but due to having that softer compound, his tires fell off in the last couple of laps, so I managed to close him in. And in the end, in the last lap, I strategically saved all my curves for the penultimate straight, and I used all the curves, managed to get ahead, and just about held on to it. So it is amazing.
Well, that's awesome to see Martin Štefanko reacting to the race. And what a season it has been. It's been an absolute pleasure to follow this Thrustmaster Virtual GP Championship with you guys. And Justin, I mean, just sum up how you've enjoyed this season.
I mean, that's been truly incredible. And because of stuff like that we're just seeing on our screens there, I mean, you can see the camaraderie, you can see the guys interacting with each other, you know, you can see them driving. They're in person. It's so much different from any other racing series that we've seen in sim racing, and it's been action-packed. I mean, it's a small grid of drivers. It's only 11 drivers, but still they put out some incredible races, some fantastic battles between the two of them, especially those two guys. It's just been a fantastic season, and it's great to see Štefanko win in the end. As you mentioned before, it was looking tough for him in the early stages of the season, but he brought it back in the end. And I was gonna say, by the way, I thought he saved all his curves, and I was gonna say too that he should save all his curves, because nobody was able to make the overtake into turn 1 without somebody else making a mistake or something. So clearly turn 1 was not the overtaking location for these guys, and he did exactly that. He saved that curves coming out of Spoon, used that long run, and just pulled ahead. He didn't even have to go side by side into 130R.
Easy as you like. Look at how close it was between those two guys, and it meant a lot to Martin Štefanko. You can see him there absolutely buzzing, and I cannot believe that. That has just been a fantastic season to follow. Michal Šmídl got the fastest lap. 85 thousandths of a second is what separated the two at the end of a 12-race season. And I mean, I have to say as well, shout out to the guys, Lucas and everyone else involved in the production of this as well. It's an absolutely fantastic production, and I must say I've really enjoyed commentating it, and I'm sure you have as well, Justin. But it's been an absolutely fantastic season. I can't wait to see what the next season holds. Martin Štefanko wins the championship by 3 points. Jaroslav Honzik, he was there or thereabouts throughout the season, but very much a solid third place man. Polesny, he kind of had a few podiums along the way. Zubek, a very impressive rookie. They actually joint on points, was Polesny and Zubek in the end. And wow, what a season it has been. Thrustmaster Virtual GP 2017 Championship. You have been an absolute pleasure. For the final time for this season, I've been Matthew Gallagher. Justin Sutton's been alongside me, and we'll see you next season. Woo!